Hello, hola, ciao and bonjour. Welcome back to my Nuzlocke adventure around the world. If this is your first time here, feel free to check out the previous episodes linked below. Let's start with a quick recap of our adventure so far. We have caught a Slackoth in Australia, a Marini in China, a Bulbasaur in Thailand, and a Grookey in Vanuatu. With this team, we've taken down the first two gyms in Cortondo and Artisan, as well as seeing off the Titan Clorf and Bombardier, and most recently, seeing off Giacomo at our first Team Star base. Now, it's time to add to our team before we take on Iono at the Levincia gym. In order to do that, we need to visit a new country, and as promised on the last video, it's time to head to South America. But before we can do that, I had a 2-hour layover in Auckland, New Zealand on the way. Not enough time to leave the airport, but just enough time to add another Pokemon to the team. Okay, let's see what we can catch in New Zealand. Something's happening. Have we clicked on a Pokemon? That's another thing that we can't actually use, so I'm going to skip that. Great. And again.
Pineco.
Is that in Pokemon? It is in Scarlet and Violet. It is. So that is our New Zealand Pokemon. Pineco is an interesting Pokemon. Certainly its Bug and future Steel typings are brand new additions to our team, which is great for type diversity. But Treacherous is certainly better known for its defensive capabilities than its attack, which is not what I typically like in a playthrough Pokemon. Either way, it joins our team, but now it's time to head to the beautiful country of Peru, where another encounter awaits. Any aviation aficionados watching this would probably know that there are no direct flights from New Zealand to Peru. Yes, I did have another layover in Santiago, Chile, but we will return to Chile soon enough, and I decided to catch a Pokemon out in the wild rather than giving you another airport encounter. So for now, let's head to Peru, where our adventure begins in Lima. Oh, and let's just make sure we have Harry Potter to watch along the way. Lima is the driest capital city in the world, situated in the middle of a desert. That didn't stop the various ancient civilizations of the area from building impressive structures here, including the Pachacamac ruins. There's plenty to see in this metropolis, including a park with water fountains, which apparently holds the world record for the most fountains in one place. Everyone's got to have a record for something, right? The light show they put on here was pretty cool nonetheless. If you like Pokemon and you have an internet connection, you've probably seen numerous people build their own ideas for Pokemon regions based on different parts of the world. If you ask me, I've never been to a country more fitting to turn into a Pokemon game than Peru. From ancient ruins and a large Castilia or Lumios city-style metropolis in Lima, we venture out to our Peru region's desert area and the really cool Huacachina Oasis. This town just looks like something straight out of a Pokemon game, and the surrounding sand dunes are breathtaking. From our region's desert area, we head to another large city in the form of Arequipa. This city is situated close to the Colca Canyon, twice as deep as the Grand Canyon, and home to the Andean condor, the world's largest bird species. Now there's an idea for a new Pokemon. Heading from Arequipa to Cusco, we are now firmly located in the Andes Mountains, which has some major Mount Coronet vibes. Cusco is one of my favorite cities on the planet, with a fun mix of Incan and European architecture steeped in history. This is where our journey to Machu Picchu begins, as well as some other fascinating Incan sites dotted around the Sacred Valley. Around the area are the Maras salt mines and Incan sites like Moray, which also look like they belong in a Pokemon game. There's also the breathtaking Star Lodge experience, where you can sleep in a pod dangling off a cliff, and you even need to climb your way up to it. This doesn't come cheap, but it's a once in a lifetime kind of experience. Okay, with that out of the way, let's start our trip to Machu Picchu, where our 6th Pokemon friend awaits. Fun fact, I heard about Pope Francis's death while I was at Machu Picchu, which is a weird story I haven't told 32 times since then. Sadly, our encounter at Machu Picchu won't be a Pichu, since those only come out of eggs. But who will we encounter? Here we are at Machu Picchu. Time to get another Pokemon on our team. Is it gonna load? Okay. Let's click around. Oh, another grass type starter. Our 3rd grass type starter. Let's catch him. 1, 2, and 3. And there we go, we've just added Rowlet to our team at Machu Picchu. If we exclude Pineco, who was caught on a layover, this is our 3rd consecutive grass-type starter, which is not great when it comes to team building. I mean, if Brassius ever wants to retire from his gym leader duties to pursue his art career, I'm perfectly equipped to succeed him. But at least Rowlet does have a different secondary type, unlike the Grookey line, which certainly makes Thwackey a great candidate for taking a seat on the bench once we catch a 7th Pokemon. And Rowlet is also unequivocally the cutest Pokemon ever created. Except maybe Frigibax, or Oshawott, or Piplup, or Dedenne. Okay, I guess there are a lot of adorable Pokemon, but the point is that Rowlet is definitely one of them, so it definitely belongs on our team. Speaking of places that belong in Pokemon games, let's talk about Rainbow Mountain. Or should we say, random generic snow-covered mountain, as it turned out to be on the day of our visit. But hey, at least we got to ride ATVs in the snow. I feel like I'm on Mount Wario right about now. This not-so-Rainbow Mountain was covered in snow year-round until recent years, when global warming melted the snow and revealed the beauty hidden below. Thanks, global warming, we owe you one. That's a joke, by the way, don't kill me. Before we head back to Pokemon Scarlet, we finish our time in Peru at Lake Titicaca, everyone's favourite lake. Because every Pokemon region needs a lake. Or 3. Here, the traditional way of life is to live on these man-made islands made out of reeds, which are regularly replenished. This just seems utterly exhausting to me, but it's such an interesting way of life. These islands definitely belong in a Pokemon game as well. Or maybe the whole island can just be a Pokemon. I mean, Torterra basically has a continent on its back, and Duraludon is a literal skyscraper, so it's not even that much of a stretch. Come to think of it, this could actually be a really cool Torterra regional variant. Time for Dragonite Watch. Let's check in on our Dragonite, which we left on the remote island of Tanna in the last episode. At the time of editing this video, Dragonite has been in that gym for 147 days now, and there's even a Mr. Mime there now too. Let's head back to Pokemon Scarlet, where we need to train our new team members up to catch up with the rest of our team, even though I'm not planning to use them in the Iono battle if I can avoid it. Firstly, I decide to nickname Rowlet after the best owl in the Harry Potter series, Pigwidgeon. No offense, Hedwig, but this guy hardly got in the movies. I also nickname Pineco Nox, since it evolves into a literal fortress, and Nox is also a Harry Potter spell. Have I mentioned I like Harry Potter yet? Once we are all trained up, it's time to battle Iono at the Levincia gym. I considered teaching my Pokemon a ground type attack by finding a useful TM, but I decided against it since half her team is immune to ground anyway. Oh wait, our old enemy Xi Jinping is standing in the way of our gym battle, desperate to start another Pokemon war. If you don't know why our rival is named Xi Jinping, watch episode 1. I forgot that this battle was going to take place here, but anyway, Xi Jinping is completely walled by our Ivysaur, who obliterates her Rockruff and Pawmi, and lobs acid at her grass cat twice to finish the battle. Xi Jinping was a pushover, but the internet personality might be a little more dangerous. That last sentence was interesting out of context, hey? It's time to enter the Iono zone. I feel like someone designed this gym challenge after spending an evening somewhere in Amsterdam, but that's another story. The gym challenge involves finding the guy who broke into my house earlier, who is hiding in the city. Personally, I'd rather just ignore the home invader, but the game doesn't give me that option. I also have to battle some gym trainers who are part of the Iono Hype Squad. I don't know what that is, but I get the sense that I am being inducted into some sort of cult. Mr. Manson has got nothing on this eclectic influencer. Apparently, this is making her go viral, so hopefully it'll do the same for me. And unlike Electro King, you don't need to give me 5,000 Pokédollars. Just a like and a subscribe will do. Anyway, it's time to enter the Iono zone. I lead with Vigoroth, while she leads with Watrel, who is easy to dispatch. The rest of her team, however, is more problematic. Bellibolt paralyzes Vigoroth with Spark, which has a 30% chance of happening, before Vigoroth is immobilized, which has a 25% chance of happening. I switch to Ivysaur, who is also immediately paralyzed, before spending the next 5 turns being immobilized. If I remember my high school math correctly, what just happened has about a 0.002% chance, or a 1 in 45,511 chance of happening. We are literally 10 times more likely to find a shiny Pokemon in the wild than this particular series of events. So yes, technically we lost the battle and the challenge is over. Feel free to unsubscribe and I'll just delete this channel and pretend like it never happened. Or, crazy thought, let's pretend that we live in one of the other 45,510 versions of this universe and see how our adventure plays out over there. Watrel is still a pushover, but this time I go for the Yawn strategy against Bellibolt, and Bellibolt fails to paralyze Vigoroth. Also, I like the fact that Iono and my Vigoroth seem to be dancing in sync with one another during this battle. Unfortunately, Bellibolt wakes up and paralyzes Vigoroth, but Vigoroth uses Slack Off a couple of times, and we eventually pull through and knock out her Bellibolt. Unfortunately, Vigoroth gets intimidated by her Luxio, effectively forcing me to switch out. In comes Ivysaur, and my plan is to Leech Seed and set up Growth. The setup is not for Luxio, but rather for her Mismagius, who has a monstrous special attack stat at this early stage of the game, and is very much capable of obliterating our team. Seed Bomb takes out Luxio, and in comes Mismagius, who actually has no weaknesses once it terastallizes into the electric type, given its Levitate ability. The moment of truth. Mismagius uses Hex, and Ivysaur survives on 2 HP, and 2 growths proves just enough to one-shot her Mismagius with Seed Bomb. Wow, that was stressful, and Ivysaur's second close call with death. Okay, we got there in the end, surviving Iono and her crazy social media cult. Although I don't feel comfortable with how close those teeth are to my carotid artery at this point, join me in the next episode when we take on Mela and the Team Star Fire crew, with a team of 3 grass-type starter Pokemon. What could possibly go wrong? In all seriousness, we seriously need to add a decent Pokemon to our team in the next episode, because I don't think a Mareanie is going to be able to take Mela out on its own. Make sure to leave a comment and like and subscribe if you'd like to continue this adventure. And here we are at the Peru-Bolivia border crossing. I'll see you on the other side.